guys, welcome back to my channel and to my new series Cravings, where I'm sharing with you easy recipes that you can recreate at home should you wish for something sweet during the day, because I know I do, especially at the moment. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to make delicious marshmallowy Krembos. Now, what is a Krembo, you may be thinking? You probably know what it is because the name changes throughout the world. It's basically a biscuit cookie with a marshmallowy meringue center dipped in chocolate. I know, right? You don't want anything else in life. So this is my take on it using my own recipes, so let's get straight into it. So I'm going to start with the delicious marshmallowy filling of the Krembo. Now for me, rather than making a marshmallow, because that's quite a long process, I'm actually just going to make an Italian meringue, and it works so well with these. So in my pan here, I've got sugar, and in my bowl here, I've got the egg whites. Now it's double sugar to egg whites, so if you're making more than I am, you can double, but don't forget you can find all the recipes in the description box, of course. Now into my sugar, I'm going to add just enough water to cover the surface. And just with my finger, I'm going to make sure that the sugar isn't stuck to the bottom. And now I want to heat this sugar until it reaches 118 degrees Celsius. And that is what we call soft ball stage to make an Italian meringue. And I'm only going to start whisking the egg whites when this reaches 110 degrees because I don't want to over whisk my egg whites. Right, so it just passed 110 degrees. So now I can turn on my egg whites onto full speed. The sugar's up to temperature, so I can turn the speed of the eggs down and slowly pour in the sugar down the side of the bowl. Trying to avoid the whisk as much as possible. And then turn the speed back up and let the meringue come together. So after a couple of minutes of it whisking, it should look something like this, a gorgeous thick meringue that doesn't move. So this is called stiff peaks, and that is when you know the meringue is ready. So now I'm going to put this wonderful marshmallowy Italian meringue into a piping bag. So I've got one here with a very large round tip. This is a number 15. I'm just going to place the piping bag inside the cup, fold the sides down to make it easier to fill. Just going to spoon in the meringue. And of course, the hot sugar has cooked the egg whites. So now the egg is basically cooked and safe to eat. That is why Italian meringue is so great. Take the bag out, give it a little shake. And to minimize air bubbles while I'm piping, I'm actually going to flatten it like this on the surface. And this just pushes any air either direction to ensure that you don't get them while you're piping out your beautiful meringue. Now that is ready to pipe. So what I've done is actually made a batch of my simple shortbread cookies. You can find the recipe for this on my channel under my Back to Basics series, but honestly, you can either use any cookie that you like or even buy some from the shop. Absolutely no judgment. But now's the fun part. We're going to pipe some large mounds of meringue over each cookie. So what I like to do is start by squeezing the meringue until it reaches the outside of the cookie. Stop. And then squeeze another ball on top, like so. So you're quite generous with the meringue. So they already look super cute, but of course they're gonna need their chocolate coating. So these are now actually gonna go into the freezer for at least 20 minutes. Now the meringue won't completely solidify because it's meringue. However, it will adhere to the cookie just a little bit better, which is important before dipping in the chocolate. So into the freezer they go. So for the coating of the Krembos, I find that just dipping them in melted chocolate is a little bit too thick. So whilst I've got the melted chocolate here, I'm going to thin it down with a little bit of coconut oil. Now this is just consistency based. I've got about a tablespoon of coconut oil, but I'll start off with half and mix that into the chocolate and see how runny it is. And the oil will also help the chocolate set nice and shiny on the Krembos. So you can see it has thinned down quite a bit, but I think it could do with a little bit more. So I'll finish that off. Because the whole idea with Krembo is that you get this thin, snappy chocolate on the outside. And now I'm going to transfer the chocolate into a tall glass because it's just that bit easier to dip the Krembo in rather than a bowl. So now's the fun / slightly messy part. I've got my chocolate in a cup, which is still slightly warm, and the Krembo with the meringue on has just come from the freezer, so they're nice and cold. So I'm gonna take one and simply dip it into the chocolate by holding it upside down. And lifting it up. Let the chocolate excess drip. Because it's thin, it drips for quite a while. Give it a shake. And then place it back onto the tray. And the chocolate should start setting pretty much straight away because these are cold. After a few, the chocolate gets a little bit shallow, so I'm just going to change glass. Make it a bit easier to dip. And hopefully that's a bit easier. There we go. So the chocolate has started to set, but I want these extra crispy, so I'm going to put these in the fridge for about half an hour before I get to enjoy one. These literally look so cute, and I think they're the perfect size. Of course, you can play around with size, you can make them smaller or bigger, but to me, that is like 2 or 3 bites worth, and I can't wait any longer to bite into one. Let's give it a go. Maybe I didn't get any of the biscuit. Wow. So it does taste a bit different to the shop bought one, obviously. The shortbread works really well, but I can imagine most biscuit bases working. Like I said, even if you bought one from the shop, that's totally fine. But the combination of the dark chocolate with the sweet meringue and the cookie is perfect. It's satisfying my craving 100%. So try these out. Don't forget to tag me at George's Cakes if you do. And we'll see you soon for more recipes and tutorials.